Greg Marchand here. Welcome to another episode of the Virtual Instructor-Led Training Program brought to you by the Service Sales Academy. In this program, we're going to talk about establishing service advisor goals. I want you to go watch the video titled The Magic of Goal Setting because it'll help you understand some of the psychology behind setting goals. And I really want you to implement goals with all of your employees, especially your service advisors. And if you're a service advisor watching this, take this to heart. Set your own goals, even if the boss isn't pushing you to set goals. Because by setting goals, we don't leave growth to chance. We actually put some magic in place to grow wherever we want to grow, whatever that goal is connected to. Goals give us targets to attain, and goals from a management standpoint can create some accountability. Look, even as a personal, from a personal standpoint, goals can create accountability. All right, you know, some of you already set your own goals. Some of you don't call them goals. You call them New Year's Eve resolutions or whatever they call them, New Year's resolutions, right? But it's a goal. And if you intentionally set goals and intentionally keep track of those goals, you're going to see growth that you never would have imagined. Now, if you're going to set goals, you've got to have some sort of data, all right? Because without goals, without a way of measuring our progress, without certain milestones along the way, and metrics are how we do this in the automotive service industry, we've got nothing. I mean, we're going by the seat of our pants here. So we've got to have some data. And the data that I generally use is tied to your pay plan, right? Any employee, service advisors especially, but technicians, receptionists, anybody, we pay them. They've got some sort of pay plan. And so if they have a pay plan, we can incentivize the pay plan. So depending on how service advisor gets paid, I generally set goals around whatever it is they're being paid on, right? Because that's double incentive. I mean, as a business, I want you to grow whatever it is, gross profit. Well, if I'm paying you on gross profit and you grow gross profit, you make more money and I make more money. So you got to start with some metrics, you got to start with some data, and then can you tie an incentive plan? Can you tie a goal to the pay plan? Because it makes it more real, right? It's bigger benefit right there. Examples you might use are total revenue, average repair order dollars, number of repair orders, and I think probably the most important one is the last one on the list, gross profit. If I'm gonna set goals for service advisors, I generally will, unless they're really new, I'll set gross profit goals. Look, if they've got even 12 months experience, 12 months to 50 years experience, I'll set gross profit goals because that gross profit number means the most to the business. If they're a new service advisor, I'll actually use number of repair orders per day as the goal, or per week as the goal, because I need to get them into this mode of feeding the technicians. And if they're going to feed their technicians, then they've got to write a certain number of repair orders a day. It's really easy for a new service advisor to kind of sit back and write 3, 4, 5 ROs a day and let, Johnny's service advisor over there write 20 ROs a day. There's no pressure. The pressure comes from the goal. And I'll say, look, okay, so, write 2 ROs a day your first week. I don't want to pressure them too much. I want them to get good at writing ROs. I want them to be comfortable writing ROs. And then that next week, I'm like, all right, you're doing pretty darn well. Let's see if we can double that to 4 a day. Whoa, we're going to double it. Yeah, it's 4 ROs, dude. You'll be all right. It's no more than 4 hours worth of work. All right, and we work our way into it until they approach an average. And once they're writing a number of repair orders, now I change the goal. I use average repair order dollars, depending on what I'm seeing going on in the data, right? We've got to have data. And I'll use ARO. And I'll try to get their ARO up closer to the shop average. And once we get the ARO up closer to the shop average, and we're maintaining that number of repair orders, now I'm focused on gross profit. But I use these goals with different data points to grow that new service advisor into becoming a full-on service advisor. Now, notice I haven't mentioned total revenue in any of that. You know why? because total revenue is going to come along with gross profit. I'm not really that worried about total revenue. So it's the gross profit that's most important, but if they're new, let's just start with getting the repair order thing down and then selling off of that repair order, and then let's start paying attention to understanding gross profit and how we can affect and influence gross profit as a service advisor. You could also start, if you're thinking about where do I set goals with my service advisors, you could also start with something you want changed. Now, many years ago back in my dealer days, this was kind of the approach that we would take because, of course, we were really worried about customer satisfaction because we were dealing with dealerships. And so we would try to set goals around customer satisfaction because we had all these metrics. Again, if you don't have the data, then it's really hard to set goals. Because now it's kind of well, I feel this, I feel that. No. We want the numbers to show we're making a difference. And because we can't argue about numbers. If I'm going to pay you on a number and we don't track it, we don't measure it, well, you can argue with me. Right? Oh, I did this, Greg. No, you didn't. Yeah, I did. So you can think about what you want changed, or maybe what responsibilities do you want certain service advisors to kind of take on? Do you want them to influence shop production? Is there something that slips through the cracks every day? Maybe it's quality control, and we need to get better about our quality control. And so, maybe we start measuring, how many QC slips we have at the end of the day, and compare that to how many ROs we wrote. And so we can set certain goals based on that if we're tracking it. Whatever goal you set, though, it's got to be measurable, right? Because if you have the data, you can set the goal. But here's the really, really important thing. Don't set a goal that can't be measured and can't be monitored, and don't set a goal that they have no control over. All right? And that's what this caution is about. Never, ever, ever, ever set a goal that an individual doesn't have control or influence over. Because if I got no control over it, I'm not going to work for the goal. Dude, that's way out of my hands. Hey, Greg, we're going to incentivize you on car count. Okay, but unless I'm putting on a wrench costume and standing out by the street, I don't know how the heck I'm going to influence car count. Seriously, boss? That's your job. You're the marketing dude. Come on. So, I've seen situations where service advisors were incentivized on gross profit. So their goal was a gross profit target, except that the metrics that went into the gross profit, they had no control over. So that can be kind of a challenge too. And that can be a slippery slope there. But think about the goal that we set. Does this individual have enough control over it or enough direct influence over it that they feel like they can make a difference with it? So if that goal doesn't have meaning to me and I don't have any influence over it, or enough influence over it for it to mean something to me, it's not a good goal. It's just not a good goal. Think about, and maybe we use the gross profit example for this. Think about if we're gonna set a goal. Well, we had to decide where to set it, and there's some challenges here, and that's why I want you to go see the magic of goal setting. Because first of all, the individual we're setting the goal with has to feel like they can accomplish it. All right, so I begin with historical averages, because when I grab the data from history, I can now say to you, look, here's what you have done in the past. And it kind of takes away but what about when we slow down? What about when February hits? What about when? What about? Stop. Right, there's always some exception to the rule. But if we grab the historical average, the average has taken into account a lot of these what ifs, because that stuff went on last year. Okay, that's why we use an average. So if I show you your averages, and those averages, took into account when Johnny and Michael technicians called out because they went deer hunting or whatever it was, and the hurricane hit and the snowstorm hit and whatever it was, it went on. We can probably expect the same thing to go on this year. We hope not as much. But the average is already there, so you can't argue with me as much, okay? I pull the data from a long enough time period that it's hard to argue. 12 months is awesome. 6 months, that's good enough. I would do more than a month because of that argument thing, right? So if I'm going to set your goal, I pull 12 months worth of averages, and I show you what you did over that 12 months on average. So here's what you did. You did 40 ROs per week over the last 12 months. It was your average. Yeah, some weeks you did 60, some weeks you did 30, but your average was 40. Once you have the data, and I can show you what you've done in the past, well, now we can talk about a goal. I show you the data, and I can say, hey, what do you think a reasonable goal is? Because when you see 40 ROs a week, and you're looking at that, and you're going, well, you're not going to tell me 35. You're probably going to increase it. Worst case, you might look at me and go, I was pretty maxed out, man. I was pretty stressed. Okay, so can you do one more repair order a day? Can you do 3 more repair orders a week? Yeah, probably. Okay, what does that mean to you? Yeah, but Greg, 3 a week, seriously? Think about it. What's your average RO? Say it's $300 just for easy math. And I do 3 more a week, that's another $900 a week. Okay, it's $4,500 a year. Is that math? That math doesn't work out. It's more than that. It's $45,000 a year, right? Would you like to have that? What if you had 2 service advisors and they both did that? Whoa, hey, there's another $90,000 a year. So the goal doesn't have to be huge. And an employee's going to hedge a bit. All right? So I push them. When I say, what do you think a reasonable goal is? You did 40 a week, and they say, oh, I could probably do 41, because they're going to hedge. Look, they would rather underpromise and overdeliver, which I don't hate, but you got to know the personalities you're dealing with too. And I'll say, all right, well, 41 is better than 40. Can you give me 44? Can you give me 45? All right, is 43 a reasonable compromise? All right, 43. Hey, we just got another $45,000 a year. Their opinion, when they say, here's what I think I can do, it's partial buy-in. They're not saying no, they're saying yes. They're being positive. Now, if they say, oh, I was too stressed out, I want to do 35, well, that's a different discussion we got to have, I guess. But ask them what they think, show them the historical data, ask them what they think, and then think about, for you, what is a reasonable goal? All right? And sometimes you're just way off your mark, right? And you need to get big leaps somewhere. You need to get somewhere all at once. Can't do it. Because when you watch that magic of goal setting video, if you set a goal that's too high, they're going to go, woo, can't do that. But if you set that, if we go from 40 to 43 ROs a week, and that's less than 1 RO additional a day, and next thing you know, they're there within a few weeks, that short-term goal got the job done. It showed them that they could do it. Okay, so if you need big leaps in gross profit, in ARO, in whatever it might be, take it in baby steps. Here's the thing I liken it to, and this goes on almost every day of my life. A shop will call me up, they'll email me, they'll text me, or I'll go visit them, and their labor rate is way off. I mean, their labor rate is just, it's crazy, low. And they go, yeah, we've been meaning to up this for the last few years. What do you think it ought to be? Should it be at 110? Dude, you're at 78 right now. You can't go to 110, right? Because what happens? That goal is too high because your customer's going to push back, right? Your service advisor, they'll love it. Your customer's going to push back. So what do? I say you raise it twice a year. All right, well, we can't go from 78 to 110, but you know what? Let's go to 80 right now. And in 6 months, let's go to 82. And let's pick away at this. $2 an hour at a time. And once they get close to where they need to be, now we're talking raising it, 50 cents, $1, or whatever it might be, so that it's not really noticeable and painful to a customer. Well, goal setting is the same thing. You don't want the goal to be noticeable and painful to the service advisor. So don't set the goal way high. Use the short-term goals to get to the way high goal. And here's the other secret to the psychology, and this is a management secret, if you will. All right, get rid of those barriers. We set a goal. Maybe I want you to do 45 ROs a week, and you're at 40 now. And maybe I say to you, what would you need to get me 45 ROs a week? 1 RO additional every day. What do you need? If they've got nothing to say, then 45 is a good goal. If they have something to say, give it to them. If you can, if it's reasonable, it doesn't cost $1 billion, give it to them. Because here's what it does. It's kind of that compromise. All right. So what you're telling me is you can give me 45 ROs a week if I update the software, if I, whatever it might be. And they go, yeah. Well, guess what? You have a deal now, right? You negotiated this. Because now they can't say no. You're giving them what they said they needed. So it's really hard for them now to have an excuse to not hit the goal. Will they still have an excuse sometimes? Yeah, sure. But it shows that you're supporting them, and it shows that you're being fair. So what else is fair? Hitting the goal. All right? And it's kind of this give and take thing. Now, if they want, well, you got to give me 3 more technicians and I'll be able to do 55. Look, I can't do that right now. I'm working on getting you 1 more technician. But based on your productivity numbers of your technicians now, the ones that you dispatch work to, they can handle 1 more RO a day. I know that. So what's in the way of that? Well, a texting, some way of texting each other would be great. All right, great. I'll subscribe to Slack, and you guys can text each other. Is that fair? But you got to give me 45 a week on average. Okay. All right. It's a little bit of a give and take. If you can reduce some barrier, you reduce those excuses too. And then you've got to have the goal put right in front of them. With service advisors, that's sometimes easy. Oh, I say that, sometimes not. I've got a great tool now that does put the goal right in front of them. And if you want to know more, feel free to get a hold of me, shoot me an email, and I'll tell you what it is. At first, you may have to remind the service advisor, hey, did you get to this number? Did you do this? Did you do that? So with one of my clients, when we started working together, the gross profit goal was, I think, $12,000 a week. All right, and we set that goal because their historical best was $14,000. This is in gross profit, and they were hovering right around 10.5. And I said, okay, well, you got 2 service advisors, you got a shop full of technicians. $1,500 increase in a week is not that. We're not asking too much here. We're $300, $150 each a day. Yeah, we can do that. We can do that. So we set that goal at $12,000 from 10.5. Even though their best was 14,000, right? So we're hovering around 10.5. We set the goal at 12. Their best was 14,000. And what do? We put it in front of every single service advisor underneath their computer terminal. Gross profit, $12,000. So they saw it all the time. And then I would walk in every week and I would say to them, and this was close enough to my office that I could go visit them. I would say to them, how's your goal? How's your goal? We're at 4,000. Yeah, it's Tuesday. You'll hit it. That's good. That's good. And you poke them. You say, where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Because you want them looking at it. Now, there's a great tool out there that will actually send them an email every day and say, hey, you're behind. You're ahead. If you're behind, here's what you need to do. And poke that bear every single day. And if you don't have that tool, then you do it. Go poke the bear every single day. If you're a service advisor watching this, go look at your numbers every single day. And after a while, that subconscious will take over. And the magic of goal setting begins to happen. Because now we're starting to pay attention. So in that shop where we set that goal at 12,000, within weeks, I mean, we're talking 3 or 4 weeks, they were at 14,000. They crushed it. Well, they had that kind of potential. They had that kind of capacity. They were that far behind. And then once they hit 14,000, of course, we raised the goal. We raised it to 16,000. Now, it took them probably 9, 10, maybe 12 months to get to 16,000. And then we moved it to 18.5. And it took them less time to get to 18.5, actually. And this is all with the same people. We didn't change anything else. They hit 18.5. And then once they were at 18.5, we raised it to I think it's at 24.5 now. There's probably some steps in between there, maybe 21 or so. They use a gross profit goal because gross profit is your single most important number to your organization. You could do it with anything, repair orders per day, per week, average repair order dollars, number of courtesy inspections, whatever the goal is. Back in my technician days, it was wiper blades once. They were incentivizing us on wiper blades. They wanted to sell more wiper blades. I wonder what the gross profit on those was, because they were paying me ridiculous money to put wiper blades on. I mean, it was silly back then. But it could be anything, right? Anything you wanna move, set a goal for it and put the goal in front of them. You don't even have to incentivize on it sometimes. Sometimes just a matter of having a goal is more than enough. It could be technician productivity, alignments, hours per RO, parts gross profit, whatever you need to grow in your business, set a goal for. Set a goal for. Even if they're not paid on it, that's okay too, all right? It's better if they're paid on it, but just having a goal is oftentimes enough. Now, think about when is a good time to move the goal up? I was telling you that story about the 12,000 and 14,000 and 16,000 gross profit. And the thing is, we didn't bump the goal. As soon as they hit 12,000 last week, 12,000 last week, all right, we're going to 14 now. No, and no. Because if you move it that much, it's a moving target. Now all of a sudden, I hit 12,000, and next week I got to hit 14 next week? What? I just hit 12, dude, for the first time. You want to see that goal level for like 4 to 6 weeks. I mean, depending on what it is, if it's courtesy inspections or something like that, wiper blades, then you don't have to wait 4 to 6 weeks to increase the goal. But if it's something like gross profit that's going to get determined by what work comes in, and there's going to be a little bit of a roller coaster to it, then yeah, you want to see them be at that goal mark for 4 to 6 weeks, because that makes them feel like, hey, you know what? We hit it. Awesome. We're consistent with it now. And you're looking for the consistency, because that's what's going to give you the end of the year number. So you want the consistency. So we're at 12,000 for 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks. Let's bump it to 14,000. They're comfortable now. Now they've shown that they are in a certain habit, whether it's asking for the sale, whether it's, whatever it might be, upselling more off of courtesy inspections. They're in a certain bunch of habits that allows them to give me $12,000 in gross profit every week. And they've shown that they can do it over a long period of time. Now it's time to raise the goal. Now, again, we don't raise it out of reach. Maybe we raise it $1,500 again. We go to 13.5. Okay? In that particular example I was giving you, I could do $2,000 increments because they weren't scared. They were a pretty confident bunch, and they had the resources to produce the work. They just needed to learn to get the work in the door and sell the work. And they did. They've done really well. They're pretty much maxed out right now. The $24,000 goal, well, I think we've had for a year now. And the reason it's still in place is they cannot consistently hit it. They hit it 2 weeks ago in March, which I was pretty psyched, right? It's March when we're filming this, and they hit it. And so in March in the Northeast, hitting 24,000 for them was pretty darn good. But I don't think they hit it last week. I haven't checked yet. It's difficult, but they're maxed out. They're really maxed out. So we haven't moved it for 12 months because we can't consistently get there over that 4 to 6 week time period. But you don't want to raise it too often. That's the big takeaway from this. Set goals. Start with basing goals on pay plan because there's double incentive there. Set the target based on historical averages. It's hard to argue with those. And then make sure you measure and monitor the goal. I've got a great measuring and monitoring tool. If you want it, shoot me an email. If you want to know more about it, shoot me an email. It'll be in your face every day. It's simple. It's nice. Short-term goals will get you to accomplish those long-term goals, but you got to pay attention. So you need the tool. Look, if you're motivated enough to go in and grab the numbers every day, awesome. If you're a shop owner that has time to go in and grab the numbers and give them to everybody, awesome. If not, let me know and we'll set you up with something. All right? Till next time, keep up the great work and never stop learning.